we have Manfred and Francis.
Your senior moments too.
Yes, very much so. Manfred and Francis, and I gave them 3 questions to prepare for their homework so that they're not completely taken by a surprise.
The questions were actually quite by surprise.
But at least
we were not prepared.
And they came.
They were not nice questions.
Francis called one of my questions this morning miserable. So let's hope we've done better than that.
They were very miserable.
So one step. Yes, that's right. Can be ugly. And the first question was a question that I pose to just about every first class that I teach, and that is to ask the students, draw a picture of leadership. And Francis and Manfred have been kind enough to go along with that. And about 12 years ago, at the American Political Science Association, of all places, I asked 12 or 15 political scientists, including Jim Burns. And this was Jim Burns' picture. I was telling him that I carry it around with me, but it's not true. I replicated here, though. And it has a circle, and it has a relationship of someone in the middle of the circle with other folks. And at the time, at least, Jim talked about leadership or the leader as being the person who initiates. And within this group, one person is singled out as the initiator. So this is Jim's drawing of leadership, and I think it helps us, and the whole question helps us to begin a conceptualization of leadership. What is it that we're talking about? So I assured both Francis and Manfred that drawing wouldn't count in their depiction of leadership, which took a little pressure off them, and they are prepared to share with you their drawings. Manfred?
Actually, I went, after that particular question was raised, I rushed out of this building, went to Rodeo Drive, bought myself a pair of shoes. That was, I think, to recover. On the way back, I had an insight, actually, in the taxi. And I was thinking about, in my other life, I'm sometimes a psychoanalyst, although I'm an quote-unquote more Freudian-oriented psychoanalyst. That's the way I was trained classically. But I'm not a religious psychoanalyst, so I do anything that works. And I was thinking about a very old symbol, which actually Jung also tried to use, but the one who touched first upon it was Plato. And it is he called it the original animal actually in the world. And this is my drawing, the Ouroboros. It's a tail-eating serpent. Basically, the reason I draw, it's for you particularly, it's for you, to make sure. But it's interesting also a circle. But the reason I picked this one is that for me, the final test, the acid test of leadership, is how well his or her successor does. Also, it symbolizes that leadership is not just, I'm a strong believer in distributed leadership and the whole issue of followership. Every leader is a follower. So again, this circle, try to describe, this tail-eating serpent is really the symbol of rejuvenation, regeneration, and things like that. And that's what I think and I think Frances talked about that very clearly when she gave a presentation about the issue of generativity, which many of us are struggling with, how to be the mentor for the next generation, how to continue. And I think that's really what, for me, very simplistic, I'm going to add it to your collection, simplistic symbolism of leadership.
This is data for a journal article soon. Francis?
Well, I didn't draw it. I felt we were speaking conceptually. So I'll just draw it in the air.
A mental
picture.
Okay.
All right. Mine is a flat circle. It's flat and fluid and circular. And in the middle in the center is a leader. And there are several concentric circles. and all of the people within the organization, within the team, they all are part on one of those concentric circles. And we never move up or down. We move across the leadership circle. So if I'm in the center, and the next concentric circle is our management team, not mine, our management team. And the next one, next concentric circle, are the people who report across the circle to the next. So we can put 100 staff members in one flat 3 circles. Now, the leader, and I define leadership as a matter of how to be, not how to do. The leader has this concept of the powerful, inclusive team, and leadership is dispersed across the circle of leadership. And when we disperse the leadership, we have leaders at every level, and there are no followers, because that almost is the language of the past if we are using circular management, circular leadership. And so we throw out the old hierarchical language as well. We never say up, down, top, bottom, superior, subordinate. Have you ever met a young person who said, I can't wait to be a subordinate? Of course not. So this is my picture, totally circular, flat, fluid, and we move across. And it is amazing what this circular leadership does. It unleashes the energies of all of the circles. It unleashes the human spirit. And that's why my invisible little sheet of paper is a circle of leadership.
And it was drawn very well, too. Though for those of you who can't see it, but picture it drawn very, very well. I think one of the common elements that we have in all 3 depictions is a circle rather than a pyramid of some kind. And since Jim isn't here, let's pick on his drawing. And it suggests as you do whenever you put something on paper, it depicts something static, something fixed. But both Francis and Manfred have talked about movement as well.
I think it has to,
Yes.
I mean, the element of it may indicate something when you talk about the organization of the future, which I think we all passionate about. What kind of organization gets the best out of people? And it obviously it's not a phallic kind of thing, it's a circular thing. That's what comes out of it. I mean, it's very clear. So, I mean, of course, Francis just wiped out a whole school of research called followership, so but what the hell? I mean, it was kind of terrible. No, I mean, I'm not involved there. I mean, I just have circles. No, not me. Look at the audience.
I love you. We love the audience.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But in defense of those who are doing follower leadership, their picture, their work would indicate that this is a very fluid picture itself, and that anyone on these rings might in fact come to the center at a particular time or in a particular place under particular circumstances, which again is Francis's invisible drawing, where people cross boundaries, and it's a very, you emphasize the word fluid. Now we're going to
flexible.
And flexible.
Now don't forget my tail-eating serpent. Huh? That's an arch symbol. I mean, she has her circles, but I have a big circle there.
Your circle has
Not only a big circle, but there's action within that.
Certainly, it's like the phoenix.
yes.
But what it suggests to me is that good leadership is also imagining and envisioning the time when the leader's position changes and others come into succession. And so one has to keep in mind that what one is doing is sustainable only, well, as I think, as you said, the test is how well your successor does.
Is the acid test, and most leaders don't pass that acid test, in my experience.
Right.
And I mean, I see too many of them after they become bitter. They also set up their successor for failure. I mean, a very good example had been Nokia, under a very narcissistic leader, not the present one, by the way, but all those kind of things happen. You know, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. Mm-hmm. AT&T under Harold Janine was famous for that. You know, how many times can you kill your successor? Of course, I think you can do it 2 times. Then the board of the non-executive directors get upset. But 2 times.
Yeah. Yes.
One example, and very soon it will be on our website. Last Wednesday night, Susan and I were responsible for a dinner honoring A.G. Lafley, the chairman and CEO of Procter & Gamble. And I held up Chief Executive magazine that said he and Jeff Immelt of GE were the 2 greatest companies in the country for leaders, not bottom lines, for leaders. And what is so fascinating, they began the article about these 2 leaders, and they quoted Peter Drucker as the best organization in the country for developing leaders is the U.S. Army, because they develop their leaders from within and with fewer casualties, Peter said. And so here you have A.G. Lafley, and he got our Leader of the Future award. He spends 40% of his time developing his leaders, and you can be sure they're not all in little boxes going up and down and top and bottom.
But Francis,